I'm Ken Apperson. We're joined today by NeedToBreathe, the multi-platinum Grammy-nominated band known for blending Americana, alt-rock, and spiritual depth. Over their career, they've earned 5 #1 albums, surpassed 3 billion career streams, and built a devoted global following through their live shows. Now, they got a new album, The Long Surrender, coming out on March 27th on MCA, produced by 9-time Grammy winner Dave Cobb. They're also on the Barely Elegant Acoustic Tour, and they're playing the Seminole Hard Rock Casino tonight, and that's pretty cool. So great to have you guys here.
Thank you for having us. It makes it sound way better than we are. Just the intro.
Hey, calls it like I sees it. You know?
Yeah, I like it.
I love it. Yeah. Okay. So let's dive into the tour and the nature of it being acoustic, because you guys have done big stage production tours in the past, and this one is acoustic. It's intimate. It's quieter at the end of the day.
Yeah.
What's the most small human problem you run into on an acoustic night that never happens on a big loud stage? Like I can hear my stomach, my hands are too dry.
Yeah,
Somebody coughs in the audience and it's a gunshot.
You can hear a smoke machine.
Yeah.
That was the first thing we noticed. You know, it's like, I mean, in some ways, this has been a response to that. The fact that we do the big rock show with all the production, it's nice to feel like we can have more of a conversation about the songs, and the nights can change. The set list changes a little bit easier. It's just an intimate way. It's a challenge to stay in our seats when we sit down while we do it. And there's a little bit of a cheat of like the rock band thing. You can kind of use your body, I feel like, to get the audience into it in a certain way. You know what I mean? The harder you play, it's kind of, you can, there's some aggression there that you get to take out. And this, it's like if it's going poorly, you're just sitting in it. You know, it's like
Right.
You really have to calm down. That's to me, the biggest challenge is the pacing just feels so different. And that quieter sort of, we're used to a certain audience reaction. They might love it, and it's like, it's a golf clap kind of feeling.
Yeah,
instead,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's just a different, you know, we've been doing it so long. That's a different vibe, different feeling.
Okay. And I mean, when you're talking about, you know, being in an audience where the audience now has to be quieter, right? Like, because it's more intimate, it's a smaller rooms, it's a smaller environment. Do you ever get a little intimidated by a quiet room filled with people?
For sure. I mean, I think that it's, you know, for the band, we kind of look at it maybe as a challenge.
Sure.
You know, we've played shows where you come out and, I mean, even on this tour, there's shows that we come out and they immediately stand up and
Right.
we're sitting down. Like they're ready to go. And we're like, well, they just chill out a second. We're not going.
All rise.
Right.
Yeah.
But then there's nights when they're there, it's like wine and cheese, and they just want to hang out, and like they're going to the theater or something, and it's like a date night, and that's cool too. Like it's kind of the night always kind of ends up differently for, you know, in different cities and stuff. So it is a little bit of a challenge, but we kind of we're in a really sweet place in the band where we can all kind of look at each other and be like, we're still here. We're all good. Everybody's, you know, doing the thing. So it doesn't affect us too much, but you want them to enjoy it. That's whether they stand or cheer or whatever. You just want them to have a good time. So
I love
that's
that.
important.
So, I mean, who in the band does that, like, you know, the cough and the dry, who does that affect the most? Who's had to maybe learn to regulate themselves a little more in this different environment?
I would say our drummer, Randall. Yeah.
Randall?
Yeah.
Okay.
His nickname is Ting Ting because when he gets nervous, he hits the cymbals. You know?
You know, he's having a hard
That's an old
time
drummer
with-
thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
And we're always, so we give him a hard time about that. But so he has to be very controlled in this scenario. And he's a hard hitter. Used to being a rock drummer. He's, you know, he stands up sometimes before he hits the crash and all
Sure.
that.
He's a
And,
showman.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's hard. I think for him, it's a little more like, dude, you got to be solid here. You got to be very consistent. There's not distortion on everything to cover up, you know, these changes and all that.
It's also tough because, like, in these shows and in our rock shows, we use monitors that are shoved into our ears and they're molded to our ears. Yeah. So, like, if you're out there and somebody yells something from the crowd, there's a good chance you're not going to hear it. So
Right.
you're not actually having the conversation. In some ways, you're acting like you're having the because you can't really hear. Bear's really good at. He always has like one ear out, so he can hear if somebody yells. So I mean, like I'm like just kind of trusting that Bear's kind of gauging where the night's going.
Did you catch that one, Bear?
Yeah, I mean, like seriously, every night it's like there was a guy last night that yelled something, and luckily he heard him at least say something and acknowledge it. Because if not, it's like you're in a conversation, somebody's talking, you're just like just keep rolling, not even paying attention to him. So that's something that, for drummers and all of us, you got to get used to just like knowing that there is something else happening in the room, even though you have like loud music in your ears, that you can't hear everything all the time.
I went to a show in college. Dave Matthews was doing like an acoustic. It was a Dave and Tim acoustic thing.
Oh, yeah,
like
Dave
that.
and Tim Reynolds.
And I
yeah.
remember a buddy of mine who was an idiot yelled out something from the balcony of this thing. It's a theater at our campus. It's Valentine's Day. I actually camped out. This is too long of a story, but I camped out the night like before they gave tickets, and I got second row. I got 2 tickets on the second row in the middle.
Oh, wow.
And some guy from Seattle, I was in South Carolina, some guy from Seattle wanted to take his girlfriend, and he offered $500 a ticket for 2 in the first 3 rows.
Oh, wow.
So we sold these. We were like rich. I mean, in college, you imagine, we were like, this is crazy, And then we got balcony tickets for $50 a piece. We're up there. But this buddy of mine, who's an idiot, yelled out something, and Dave stopped and made a comment back. And it was like by far the best part of the night, even though it was a beautiful night of music.
Sure.
The fact that it was just so personable in that way.
Yeah.
So I've always tried to keep that in mind, like the idea of like we really are. What makes us unique after you've learned the show and you kind of have what we do, and we've been doing this 20-something years,
Sure.
is tonight.
Yeah.
It's like this room is unique, and this is in the flow of it, and everything that happens needs to be, represented tonight, and I think that makes it special.
And I mean, that's one of the huge differences between performing live and being in the studio, So let's talk about the record a little bit,
Yep.
I mean, I'm a musician, so I know like in the recording process, it's kind of like draft after draft after draft after take after take after version after version, and you've got like 6 when you were doing it in the early 2000s and 90s, it was like 6 CDs that say final version, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Final version 2, final version 12. When with the new album, did you hit the point where you were like, no, that's the version, that's the one, even if it wasn't perfectly polished, because that's kind of the point, right? Especially with Dave Cobb.
Yeah, I think Dave is great at that. I
Yeah.
think that would be, one of the top 2 or 3 things I think that he brought to the table with us, because we had our own studio when we were coming up, and so we all know how to make records, we know engineer them, and we can just get lost in the weeds a little bit and take
Sure.
forever, and then
Yeah.
be like, he always has this perspective of a listener, which is really simple to say and really hard to do, to actually be in the room where a band plays you a new song and goes, I don't hear the lyric right now, I just hear you guys trying a musical vibe or idea, right? So let's strip it back, one acoustic, and let's see how that feels. No, don't play like that, it's to a click. I want y'all to play it together. And so much of the thing was like Randall had a hard time with the drummer, because it's like we write a song in the morning, go in there, play it to him, he's like, I think we should do that today. Okay, we're doing it today. So it's like, Bear, why don't you cut the vocal and the acoustic by yourself? And then Randall go in there to do drums. One pass. He's like, we got it, come in.
Oh, wow.
No, like, what about that bridge fill? It's like, no. That was it.
No fixing anything.
So this
Wow.
record has so much of that, where really there was a live take where the whole band's in the room, and it's the first take. I mean, the last track on the record is the first. I played it on piano, and I wasn't really familiar with it on piano. It was so awkward feeling to me a little bit. We got in
Sure.
there, and I walked in there just like, that's it. Yeah, okay, this is so it's a little bit of trust in that. Listening back, there is such a magic to that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same way with live. Like, people don't want to hear it without the mistakes. It's not that you're trying to play bad or out of tune or any of that stuff. It's just the genuine like reaction that you're having to the song is the one that you're trying to translate to them. I think that was powerful.
Diamonds are loved for their flaws.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely. I mean, and I have an old producer friend who used to say, being in the studio with these songs that you've worked on for ages is kind of like walking into the front of the class and having someone yank your pants down. Like it's very personal and can be embarrassing, and like you really get all of the prettiness stripped away, and you're left with just yourself.
Yeah.
And you wonder, am I going to measure up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for us, the song, what we've seen over the years is like, not that it's about one subject necessarily, but there's an inspiration to what we do lyrically.
Sure.
That needs to last and matter.
Sure.
And it's like, it's the stuff that it's like when a birth of a child, that's the song they listen to, or it's a wedding, or it's those, or a funeral even. It's just like so much of our audience has been built in that way. People live into the music, and so I think when you do it like this, when you write the song that morning because you're feeling so strongly about it, the lyric and everything, and then you capture it. The only thing you have time to worry about is whether the feeling is there. Not this could be done 10 different versions. I mean, there's no doubt you could go back and change the way you did this, but as long as you captured that part, you kind of go, okay, I can live with that. And somebody like Dave, who's made these records, these special records with, these kind of, Stapleton and Isabel and Sturgill and all that stuff.
Carlisle.
You're like, surely he's gonna know. He knows when he feels it, and so we gave him a lot of trust in that way.
Yeah.
So I've listened to the record, record more than I've ever listened to one when we printed it. I would say I don't listen after we made a record. It's like a year before I go back and listen.
Yeah.
Normally.
Sure.
And this one is just like so natural to me to listen to that way.
So let's talk about Dave a little bit, Dave Cobb, just so the audience knows who we're talking about. He's a 9-time Grammy-winning producer who's known for records that feel very real and very alive. He's known for kind of like recording live versus, take by take, track by track, performer by performer. He's worked with, like you said, Chris Stapleton, Brandi Carlile, Jason Isbell. And so I'm wondering, because again, I've worked with producers, and there's always, whenever you're working on a project, there always ends up being like a catchphrase or a mantra or whatever. What's the most Dave Cobb sentence you heard about 50 times while you guys were recording?
What would you say?
That's safe for radio.
He would give us a hard time about. He would always go. He'd go, "What you know about?" Anytime.
Yeah.
So we've been doing this obviously for a long time. So
Sure.
I would say, "Hey, can we bring a little of the whatever? Take 200 out of that. A frequency out of that thing." He's like, "What you know about 200?"
Yeah, maybe we, instead of like the piano, maybe we should use like a mellotron. What you know about a mellotron?
Yeah, it's all like treating us like it's our first
Like we've
time.
never done this
which
before.
I think is intentional on his part.
Yeah.
Of like, guys, it is not about the tricks. It's not about the stuff like it's about the performance.
Yeah.
I think that's. I listen back to his records. That's the thing that I take away is that there's always, my God, that vocal on that is insane. How did you get there? Well, if it's a good singer and it's a good song, for me, he would put me in between the speakers. Like I did some stuff where I'm like singing with the speakers on.
Oh, wow.
At the desk.
Okay.
And so the band's behind me. I'm singing the song for the first time.
Yeah.
I would sing it down 2 or 3 times. It's like, and I would feel kind of enraptured by the thing. I'm lost in what happened.
Sure.
And I look back and they're like, we got it. We'll put that. That's it. That's the record. And I think some of the best vocals that we've done, and it was because it was in the moment. You can quickly become sort of a cover band of yourself. I think
Sure.
that's, after you've heard that song 10 times.
That's such a great way to put that, because these days in 2026, the studio is such an incredibly high-tech digital environment that it's easy to kind of get lost in the tech, in the, the plugins, in the electronic instruments, in the quantization, and remembering that this all became beautiful back when none of that existed.
Yeah. And I think we're living in a world now, with the AI thing and all these bands that are made that way.
Yeah.
That what pop was trying to, the genius of, I don't know, Michael Jackson or whatever, going to numerous consoles and more tracks and getting it perfect and all that stuff. That's like, it's kind of not genius anymore. Anybody can do the perfect thing. So now it's like, okay, where is the humanity in this? What is your story? And I feel like obviously that suits Dave and what he does really well, but where the band was, where it's like we weren't even trying to make a record. I wasn't writing songs for an album. There wasn't it didn't need to happen, this whole thing happened in an 8-month period. We go down to do a single with Red Clay Strays, and Dave is doing their record, so we do that. And then he's like, why don't we do some more songs? So we follow this up. So we just make another Savannah trip, In the middle of that, I'm writing songs and we're cutting them. He's like, I kind of feel like I was like, I feel like it's a record. And he's like, really? You think you've got more? I'm like, there's so much we're saying that seems consistent, and we're loving this experience. He's like, okay. He steps out of the room, calls he's working for a label now. He's like a co-president of the label that we signed with. But all this is not in the plan. This is this is a Thursday or whatever. He walks out and comes back in. He's like, okay, we're making a record. We were gonna sign the band for a record deal or whatever. And I was like, that's the way the album went.
That's great.
It's been special.
Kind of
so
spontaneous.
I think we had something to say. I felt like the record was coming from a real experience, and when it's like that, it's falling out. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not forced.
Yeah, it's got to be. Well, to your point, and you've said this in other interviews, I think, the authenticity of it. I feel like if you were to wrap up the whole album in a word, it would be authenticity, which is a rare thing these days, which I think is what makes it so exciting, so special.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, all right. So a quick interruption from the grown-up talk, real quick. I did some deep research for this interview. So, Josh, I want to see if this means anything to you. Okay?
I'm ready.
I guess that means you're going to be combing your hair before you come to my class. You chewing that gum? You look like Mr. Ed. Baby, save it for Oprah. Does that mean anything to you?
It does, and I'm having a hard time placing it.
I'll give you a...
Give me a hint.
Well, I'll give you a hint. Bad habits.
Oh, no.
And I don't mean habits like things you do. Making
Sister
whoopee.
Act 2. Back
Yeah.
in the habit.
Back in the
I
habit.
remember. You said, baby, save it for Oprah. I got you now. I got you now. Yeah. Oh, I love that movie. Yeah, it's a great movie.
So you have a big VHS collection,
I do have a
right?
big, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And as I understand it, you really enjoy watching those VHS tapes like with your kids and your family.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so it kind of started during COVID, like being at home, and I would go to Goodwill and like just rummage through things. And I always, when I was a kid, I really like, even with records and cassettes and all that, I loved the artwork, and I loved to see like, what the packaging was and how it came. I used to smell it. I used
Oh
to,
yeah,
like,
that
the whole
smell
thing
was
of it.
awesome.
Yeah, and of course that has gone away with the digital thing. But like, there's something about VHS and the way it, it's a process, and so to go and watch any movie that came out before 2005 or whatever,
Truly, yeah.
and put it in and like do the thing, and they have to sit through the previews. It's definitely like an archaic way of doing it, and it makes no sense until you do it maybe once, and you're like, oh, this makes me feel at peace. Something about it makes me feel like
There's a ritual to
grounded.
it.
Yeah. And so I just like, it kind of got to a thing where I just started collecting, and then people would start dropping them off. Like, hey, I got this big box of VHS.
Oh, man.
There's like 50 of them. You want them? I was like, yeah, I'll take them.
Yeah.
So now I have a studio in Tennessee, and like I have a whole room that's just wall to wall VHS that people have given me or that I found on the road. And it's just, it started out kind of as a silly thing, and then now I really do enjoy it, and my kids love it, and I get to go watch movies that I grew up on, and they get to watch it and not be like trying to find something on Netflix or whatever it is. It's like, it's a process that they can, learn, because they didn't. That's all stuff that they would have never known what that is unless I had a massive VHS collection. So.
Yeah. And it's time with Dad.
It's time with Dad.
It's time with Dad. That they'll always cherish that.
Yeah.
I mean, as a new dad myself, my daughter's 6 months old now, so I'm like looking ahead at all the right ways to do things that I'm sure I'll fail at, here and there. But one of the things about that is, when you stick in a tape and it's halfway through because you stopped because dinner started, and you stick it in, and you're like, no, kids, we have to rewind it.
Yeah.
You have to sit and wait.
Yeah.
For it to be
I
rewound.
think that they're, not. I think about this sometimes. I think I feel sometimes a little insecure about just the whole thing, because it is kind of like, it's kind of pointless in some ways to have like a big collection of anything these days. It's like, but I do feel like there's a lot of parallels in life of like trying to figure out like, it's growth. It's like trying to figure, like, the whole thing is it's not always easy to to like access the things that you need in life.
Takes a little work.
Takes a little work. And so like, to me, I love it. And I also feel like it's all gonna come back, because all these streaming services are gonna go down.
Yeah.
And then everybody's coming to my house.
Yeah. You have to put it in a vault like a
I'm gonna be
survivalist.
the most popular guy, and everybody's, hey, do you have Titanic on VHS? Oh yeah, I've got it. Don't worry, I got you.
We'll catch Josh in 20 years selling VHS tapes out of a trench coat on the street corner.
Way marked up too. So.
Way marked up, yeah.
From the normal $2, I can get it for you.
Do you have Braveheart?
Of course, I got Braveheart.
Two VHS
Yeah, the big
box
one.
set.
Yeah, of course.
Gotta have it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so in the early days before you guys were signed, I think, or the early days of being signed, you recorded unplugged performances on a local TV station here in Tampa.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was when it was just you and your brother, and and that project actually won a regional Grammy. which is pretty cool. I don't know if you were
Did
aware
you
of
know
did
that?
know
Yeah.
I did know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty neat.
Yeah, our old bass player Seth's uncle was worked at the station. Yeah,
I also heard that your old Ford van may or may not have caught fire.
it did
At the station.
It did. Yeah, I don't know if it was at that station
No?
where it caught fire.
Oh,
But I remember that was right around that time.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I had heard of that. Luckily, I had heard of it. But we were driving down the interstate with a trailer in the back, and smoke starts coming out. And our old drummer at the time, he was like, "We're on fire." He said it kind of quiet at first, and then he screamed it, And so we pull over. Everybody gets out, and it's like it's 10. You think about the movie thing, like, is this going to blow up? And like, I knew better. I was like, this is probably not going to blow up.
Sure.
But it was really hot, really fast,
Yeah.
And we had stage clothes in there. We had our little money box that we kept our, $150 we were getting paid, whatever it was. And so we did not run in there. Luckily, people had some phones and stuff, so that was it. And luckily, the way it blew up, I mean, it looked like a bombed out car kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what it looked like at the
That's
end.
what I'm
Just
picturing, yeah.
metal on the base thing.
Melted
Yeah, the chassis
seats
is left and the wheels, and that's it.
oh man.
It was insane.
Everyone was okay.
Everybody's okay.
Okay, good.
And luckily, it like burned the front of the trailer, but didn't burn through the instruments.
Nice.
So our instruments
Good
smelled
trailer.
like smoke for years.
Did they really?
Yes.
Oh,
totally.
man.
Every time we get something out of a lid, it's like, oh gosh. Yeah, we still made the show that night.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
we were opening for Cowboy Mouth.
Oh yeah, I remember that band. Yeah, Cowboy Mouth. Absolutely.
So that tells you how long ago that was and what where we were.
I think they were they a St. Louis band?
New Orleans.
New Orleans. Fine.
Yep.
Yes, okay. They used to come to St. Louis a lot. That's what it was. I'm from St. Louis originally.
Nice.
Yeah, that's incredible. Do you now when you're like cooking and you burn something and you smell that smoke, does it bring back
I can
that
think
memory?
about my old Hot Rod Deluxe, my old Fender amp
Yeah.
that I used to play. You know
Those
what I
tubes
mean?
get hot.
Exactly.
Yes, they do. All right. So, Bear, you're from a very, very, very small, unincorporated area. I don't know if we can call it a town. Can we call it a town?
Yeah, you can.
Possum Kingdom.
That's right.
Is the name of the
Yes.
place. And I'm gonna, I sat down and I was like, oh, we could make a joke about that. I'm sure that's been done a million times
It's
because
fine.
it's easy fodder. But
Yeah.
what I am curious about is when people hear that name and they make assumptions, what do they get wrong?
Oh, well, I mean, there's a lot of things that are probably half truths about that.
Sure.
I think one is it was an incredibly small town, but we were there because my dad ran a church camp, and so in the summer a bunch of kids would be there. So I think I also was homeschooled. So you could just imagine a kid who lives in Possum Kingdom homeschooled. You're thinking like he probably doesn't have a lot of social interaction.
I'm amazed. You can blink
Yeah,
and you have
exactly.
charisma. It's incredible.
Yeah, but so I think it was a really cool experience because of that, because all the kids that were around, like we just got to see all the new music that was coming out, all that stuff. Like I felt like we were affected by that. At the same time, I mean, I lived on a campground. It was insane. It was like it's small town, yes. But
Yeah, what do you
like,
mean
There was
campground
a
exactly?
river, a lake, pond thing. I mean, my dad was crazy and was running this camp and built things before you could sue people, or that was in vogue. You know what I mean? So like
Before it was easy to sue people,
exactly.
yeah.
So like, I mean, this is the early '80s. So like, there's a water slide he built out of telephone poles, and it basically just had really thick trash
Out
can
of
linings.
telephone poles.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and he built it down this massive hill, and it was trash can lining and just a water hose at the top.
Oh,
And
okay.
so we had a water slide that this 100-yard water slide or whatever. We had a thing called Screaming Mimi, which was like a cable, a pulley thing.
Like a
So
zip line kind of a
yeah,
thing?
exactly,
Okay.
zip line. And so, but he built it on a tree that was kind of close to where the lake was, but not all the way to the lake.
Yeah.
So you climbed up on this deer stand to
Yeah.
grab the deal. And then it was like 20 feet before you get to the lake. So somebody fell, broke their arm. Luckily, it wasn't worse than that. And then he was like, how do we fix this? Like, let's put hay bales here in front of the, right?
What do we got
times.
around
So you
here?
can imagine, yeah,
What do we
we're
have?
going to put some hay bales
Yeah.
in there. They'll be fine. Kids will be fine.
I'm just glad you didn't say like insulation or
Yeah, it was
asbestos or something.
Right. Yeah. So there was I think a lot of freedom, and just a lot of fun. Honestly, a lot of really cool way to grow up.
You seem like you really enjoy engaging with those memories. A lot
Yeah.
of people think about their childhood and they kind of have snapshots, and some are good and some are bad, but they don't spend a lot of time like remembering the details. It
Yeah.
seems like you do.
I feel like I've put, when you say that, it's like I put a lot of work in probably the bad memories of it.
Sure.
To where
We all do.
they feel separated in a way I can really appreciate the things about it that, like, good and bad. It just that lead you to where you are. I mean, I think the reason the band, I felt this like, I mean, it's insane to be a musician. Anybody
Different
who
planet.
does it, like who really does it, is like, I'm leaving school and I'm doing this. You know, everyone around them's telling them don't do it, and they're right. You know, because it's crazy. And so I just think of like the idea that I had enough of that gumption to kind of be like, we can do this. I think we can make it. We'll figure this out. You know, a lot of that came from that sort of upbringing, I think.
I love that. That's awesome. Okay, so back to the album a little bit, and then I'm not going to keep you any longer. I promise you. You guys have already been really generous with your time, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
When you were recording it, anytime, speaking from my own personal experience, which is completely limited compared to you guys, of course, but anytime I've recorded with a band, and especially when the writing is a little bit more democratic, like I know you're the principal writer for the majority of the new album, especially, but everyone still kind of adds their own parts. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay, so how do you know when to stop debating and just move forward? Like when you get stuck in those moments where it's like, I think I'm right. I think I'm right.
Yeah.
Who's the peacemaker, and how do you hit that
question?
tone?
I honestly think like when a band is working well, I think it is the kind of, somebody has an idea, it's that you let some space for that idea to kind of see. It's like, okay, let's play it down like that. You know, I think when you cut off the idea at the immediate thing, now there's this competition of like, I've got to sell the idea, or the idea needs to be welcome.
Sure.
But that person also needs to be secure and mature enough to go, when we hear it all together, we'll all know. Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably the worst thing about making records with a band, when it gets bad, is credit.
Well, that's something musicians are all really well known for, is being emotionally mature.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah. Well, I think that level of wanting credit, but that was my idea. It's like, who cares, dude? It's like I think that, and I think we do have a nice, not even nice, it's an incredible situation with that at this point, where I don't feel like we really don't care whose version it was or whose idea for a part was. The truth is, we know a year from now we're all going to be playing these songs together, and it's going to be the calling card of whether or not we get to do this in bigger places or whatever it is. Like, that's going to be because the music was great, not because you did it or whatever. And none of us really want to be famous anyway.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's like there's not that kind of. So I think that's a sweet place to be in. I don't know.
Yeah, I think too. It's trust, you know, and just like get into a place where you not only trust each other, but you trust the music that you're making, and you allow that to grow at however it grows. It's like if you're all, like Bear said, is you're all in the room and the drummer has an idea for a guitar part, and you're like, why would the drummer have an idea for it? If it's great and everybody knows it, who cares? Like that's what the great, to me, that's one of the best parts about being in a band, is that you're just in there just trying to make the best thing you can. And I also think that there is a little bit of a mystical, magical, maybe a spiritual thing that just happens when it works. When you're like, everybody in the room's like, definitely. And when that happens, there is no greater feeling or thing that could happen to you in the world as a musician, when everybody's like hands in, like, man, we did it. And that has happened. That happened a lot in our career for sure. But like on this record, I feel like it happened so many times.
Really?
Yeah. I feel
awesome.
like we were just all like living in this, like, I've said like the overflow. It's just like, it felt like everybody was just like in it. And it was so beautiful to see everybody just like trying their best and bringing their best, but also bringing their instincts. And most of the time our instincts were right. And we were all good with that. And like, I feel like you can hear that. We're just a bunch of guys that like really love what we get to do. And this is our 10th album, which is crazy already. And the fact that we're so proud of it now is beautiful. And so I love that. And we love this record. So
I love it, man. After getting to talk to you guys a little bit, it's really cool to feel like I've gotten to speak with a couple of musicians and players that are on a higher level, such as yourselves, and it's really cool to see that you guys seem still very like grounded in your craft, grounded in your families, in your beliefs, in your spirituality. Like, you're still people, and I think the fact that you can experience that feeling with your group, with your producers, you're sitting in the room, you're like, we all got it right. Yeah. We did our best, and our best was enough. Yeah. That's such a cool thing. I love it. Okay, last question. It's a short one. All right, we'll call it a day after this. I appreciate it again. Thank you. How long is the longest stretch of a tour, like the single leg? How long is the longest leg of a tour you guys have ever been on?
Oh man, we did 140 shows in 7 months.
Wow, 140 shows. So 7 months.
Yeah, we
grinding.
did. There was probably 7 or 8 years when we were first going where it was 200 plus a year.
Yeah. When you finished that leg, what was the thing you were most excited to do that was not music related?
Therapy.
For sure.
Spoken like a guy who's been on the road a long time.
I just tell you, man,
Absolutely no doubt.
I mean, it's just, that is so not human and not good, you know. I mean,
It's tough.
yeah, I feel like I'm very careful about that relationship between what we do on the road and what we do at home. We've gotten better at, you bring a lot of home here, you get better of like staying in contact with your family, all those things, but your routine's so different. And it's just not good for people to have thousands of people tell them they're great every night.
Sure.
It's just that, like, so we have so many safeguards even when we're out here of like, we have this thing we kind of do, like I call it a sandcastle. We're just like, let's look at the show after, be thankful for it, talk about the things we could do better, and then let's wipe it, you know, and go back to like, now I'm a dad again 10 minutes after the show's over. Like, I've got to really transition that.
Wow.
So when I think you're out for that much, a couple hundred shows, you're away more than you're home. Now your reality is this thing that isn't reality at all.
Sure.
It's just like, and yeah, it was tough and damaging and all that. You know, anytime I meet young people, I'm just like, the music comes from life. Not the other way. Music doesn't come from being on the road. That's
Can't
not how
write in
that
the
works.
vacuum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got to live a life and feel in a certain place to be able to hear anything outside of yourself. And I feel like if you don't do that, then now you've just gotten lost on this thing and you don't know who you are, and people are telling you who you are, and it's a lot of dangers out there.
I love that. How about you, Josh? What do you think?
Oh man, I mean that tour, or the tour he's talking about, it was, you know, we were, golly, it was my first tour with the band. We played, we were opening for Taylor Swift. And we were doing all these shows with her, and then we were also doing secret shows as well. So like we were gone so much. It was literally my first time on the road with the band. And I remember like the last day of the tour, we played Madison Square Garden and David Letterman on the same day. Like,
Wow.
And I think back to that, and it's like such a cool thing that like for our memoirs one day we'll probably write about it. But like I hated that we were so exhausted for sure, but also just like we were not in the right headspace at the time because it was too much for us, that we couldn't really enjoy what we were getting to do. We were opening for one of the biggest artists in the world at the time. I mean, and doing all the coolest things and playing Cowboy Stadium and all. It's just such a crazy time, but we were kind of lost in a lot of that stuff. It's just like our identity and all that. And I feel like that is the hardest thing. It's like you have to check yourself every day. It's like an everyday check-in with, you know, look in the mirror and being like, okay, yeah, this is cool that you get to do this. You can celebrate these awesome things that you get to do and play these shows with your friends. I mean, that's cool. But at the end of the day, you're still just a dude who got lucky, and you know, work as hard as you can, but you're not that cool, and that's okay, and that's totally fine. And I think that we're learning that as we've been doing this for so long, and it is like something that you want to, you know, tell a younger artist who is, you know, we didn't grow up having like have to be on TikTok and be like, hey, we're cool.
Right.
Check out this dance that we were trying to do to make this song go viral. If you do this dance, you'll be as cool as us. And then this, you know, we didn't have that. So I can't imagine like what would be like now to like try to break into this world and also find identity in something other than that. So like for us, like I am thankful that we've kind of come up in that time where we can now learn from all that stuff and also be able to like give this thing, you know, we say, he said it from the stage last night, for the next 30 years of our band, which is crazy to think about. But I actually think that's possible if we can keep it, you know, figure out what we're trying to do and try to, you know, do it as healthy as we can. So that to me is the key, is just like don't take yourself too seriously. Do what you do well, but also just remember that you're just lucky to be in the room.
Man,
know?
That's awesome. Okay, Need to Breathe, The Long Surrender, out March 27th. They're on the Barely Elegant Acoustic Tour. They're performing at the Seminole Hard Rock Casino tonight. I'm Ken Apperson. This is WMNF. Thank you guys for being here today.
Thanks for
Of
having us.
course, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.